Okay, we've taken care of the worker. We've taken care of the employee, as it were. We've taken care of the people that can't work because of injury or whatever. We've also taken care of the children in this country, uh, assuming that we do what's recommended here, of course. But what about the employer? You know, he's going to be the employer if you don't count the 5%, 0.5%, I mean, that are uh, being forced to give back the money they're stealing. You have the employer, and the employer is told by the overchargers that they're going to lose, they're going to lose, going to lose. Let me show you, let us show you, let them show you how it is that the common man, the man that becomes an independent person and wants to, be an employer instead of an employee. Let me show you where they benefit. We've shown you the benefit of the workers of government-supported base level package. The workers now taken care of and stable. That's good. The retired and the unable to work and the parent or guardian are also taken care of now. So then what have we done about the employer? Okay, number one, if you choose to give a retirement package, your only task is to pay into it. You no longer have to worry about it or manage it. You don't have to worry about the value going down. You don't have to do anything. It's just something you pay by. I would say if you have an employer retirement package and you pay to the bank every month or every week or however you want to arrange it. But that's it. You pay into it, and you don't have any other concern about it. It's being managed by the employee. It's owned by the employee. The employee can move it from bank to bank if they want to, within the requirements of that package being a retirement package and the bank being restricted as to what it can do. Those things are covered. So that's number one. Now you have a retirement package you don't have to even give a second thought to. You just pay the money to the bank. Number two, there are no unions that you have to negotiate with. You hire an employee and fire that same one if you don't like him or her for any other reason. You can now work with people you like or people who work the way you want them to work. That's number two. No unions. There will be a requirement that you can't just fire a person because you don't like them, in a sense that personality conflict, but you got a procedure of one or two, maybe three notes saying, or pieces of paper saying they didn't do this and they didn't do that, they're fired. Yeah, okay, fine. Because the employee has a job immediately, and if you don't like them, part of what we're trying to get here is that the employer has to gain somewhere, or they're going to gain. You don't like the person, fire them. Okay, the person now has a job somewhere else, and you can hire somebody else that you like. No, you can't tell me that isn't a good idea. Number three, the government will determine the level of work for your business so that there will be no sitting around. No unions, no sitting around. A person says that they can't do this work, and the government says, yes, you can. We have a work study program, and it says easily you can fulfill the job description. You just don't want to. Safety and work conditions will be governed, determining what for every businessman. Now you understand that might not sound so good, but every business has the same condition, so competition with any other business is going to be level. The government is going to say you can do this level of work and you can make it this safe, or have to, if you will, make it this safe, but every other business like yours is going to have the same requirements, so pretty much levels the playing field. And that's a good thing. And then you don't have to sit there worrying about, I'm probably illegal with this safety thing and blah, blah, blah. No, you don't have to do that. You just follow the rules and take it from there. Number four, the government has to examine each of its regulations on a cost to benefit ratio by law. That was one of the things that they recommended that we don't do now. And what does that mean? That means that the safety regulation and the work regulation by law has to, you can't have 5 cents. You can't have $10,000 charge for an employee's safety if the employee is going to have a problem with it once every 100 years and only one employee. In other words, you're going to have to examine the regulations on the cost to benefit ratio. That'll cut down on the nitpicking by the government greatly. In other words, now they're beginning to see we can't nitpick. We can't just change it because we have the power. So that'll be really good. Number 5, every business will have to follow the environment regulations. So again, the competition will be more level. Okay. If you have a mining operation and you have environment things that you have to fulfill, anybody else that has that mining company will have to fulfill the same regulations, level playing field. That's good. Number 6, to get an employee, all you have to do is go to the government employee service and tell them what it is that you want. The next day, an employee will be there, maybe 2. If you do not like the one provided, fire him and ask for another, or refuse to hire that one. That'll be the benefit of this system. Again, looking at your employee, you're going to get the employee that you want. You're going to work with the employee that you want to work with. That's not the way it is today with the unions and the government regulations, but it will be. That's the way it will be. Now comes the good part. The government now has to do its own work instead of forcing you to do it for them and not paying you. What are they saying? Social Security collection, paying your income tax, like retirement programs, how they're involved, health insurance, all that stuff you do now. You're worrying about the employee health insurance to try to get it to be a reasonable level, Social Security that you have to collect and all this and send to the government. All of that goes away because number 1, we don't have Social Security that you have to pay, and no health insurance because you have free health care. The workers' comp will not be there because you're insuring your income as a person at whatever level you choose to do. And so it's no longer a concern to your employer. And you know what the employer has now? It probably is going to remove at least one person in the office because they don't need that person. And you will be spending much more time running your business instead of worrying about the other parts running your business. That's what you should be doing. The government is accepting that, or at least they that are promoting this are saying, look, you need to run the business, not all this other stuff. So number 8, the fact that there are no taxes will also make your business decisions relate to your business and not with the balancing act with the tax issue. In other words, you don't need a lawyer, you don't need a tax accountant because your business isn't taxed anymore. You make decisions on the basis of if you're making product or if the product sells or whatever it is that you're doing, that you get that done because that's your business, not this other stuff that you spend so much time with and you shouldn't have to. Number 9, government will have to force other countries to give their employees the same benefits as the employees get in this country, or at least charge an import fee that brings the base labor rate to the equal amount. They're going to make it the same cost for any business outside of this country to compete with you because if they don't pay their laborers the equal amount to the labor that you pay your laborers that you have to pay, then the government will charge an import fee. And the whole concept is to make the labor of work and whatever it is that you're dealing with equal. We're not going to rob these other countries of their cheap labor. We're going to make everything equal, and if it isn't equal in terms of paying the employee, which is their business, it's not yours. But if they're going to do business in this country, they're going to have that cost, and if they don't get it any other way, they'll get an import fee. Now, that sounds kind of strange, but there are some key things that might cause problems, but they've taken care of it in other parts of this discussion. So the labor should be the same in any country coming into this country for products. So they won't be moving things to another country because it's cheaper. They might do it for other reasons, but not, I mean, there's a possibility that they have more natural resources in another country, and that those natural resources are much cheaper in another country, and therefore their product might be more, let's say, cheaper in this country, and that's why they come to this country to sell their product, but not because of the labor. So that's another benefit to the business. Number 10, the worker will be making more money. The worker will. The middle class will be doing much better, and the rich will be making a reasonable income instead of an insane buying a $10,000 or $100,000 picture for their dining room wall. They'll be spending their money for things that they need, and they'll be spending your money, which is what you're looking at. You're looking at people that are there able to buy, and that's what you'll have. All of a sudden, the person who's a businessman is saying, look at all these people that have money now, and they want to buy what I'm selling. I'm starting to make money. So, again, because of the changes in the system, the common labor, the low-level labor will have much more money, and the middle class will be doing a lot better. And the rich will be forced to spend their money on living instead of spending it on pictures. So there, you end up with a resource of a huge mass of people that have money. That will make for more people buying things, and that'll make tremendous stability in the market and solve so many of the problems in the marketplace. Because, as we said, if you have money, the problems they go away. The problems go away if there's enough money. It's only when there isn't enough money that the problems stay there. Number 11, a worker can negotiate a better package if he or she can, but only the base is guaranteed, and only the worker can negotiate a better contract based on ability. As we said, no unions anymore. So they point out again, the problem that you might have is that not one of those laborers at the base level is going to want to work for you at the base level wages. Now, there might be somebody who has educational abilities that are way beyond what a base level worker has, and what he's going to say is, I want more money, and he can negotiate it singly, one person at a time, and that's the way it should be. So now you've got 11 things that are a very great advantage to the worker. To go on then with the advantages for the employer, in the system, we need to understand that there must be some form of incentive to improve our lives, and that incentive is for any person to become rich. There's rich. Now you're 400,000 rich. That's an incentive. 99% of the people are not making that kind of money. And if you are, yay you. But you stop at 400,000. That's it. There's no reason for you to go on stealing from us. But there's an incentive there. There's obviously a need for an incentive to build a better economy, but it's no longer will be at the expense of the base worker or our environment. So even though that isn't exactly a benefit for the businessman, to know that you're taking care of the environment, and to know that your workers are taken care of. There are a lot of people out there who are businessmen that will love that. A lot of people. They don't tell you that because overchargers want you to believe something else, but it's not true. The People's Trust Government program is taking care of the base worker and the government, which we now own, will repair and guard our environment. Those people who think they have to reduce our lifestyle in order to accomplish that goal are wrong. They do not understand that the People's Trust government system, in the People's Trust government system, all inventions will be broken free of the 5% stranglehold and made free to develop, which is one of the things we talked about. There is your capit all-ism going to work for you developing some very rich people. Maybe 20-30% of the people that aren't making the 400,000 will start making 400,000 as they become unrestricted in their effort to create those things that society needs. All patents that are, things that we need will be purchased by the government and then can be developed until they can be sold to a businessman or woman to be produced. We talked about that before. The problem of renewable energy will be the first thing to be fixed, because as soon as they pay off the debt, the federal government goes to work on it. If we don't have something in the patent office that we can use, they're going to go to work on it with hire all these intelligent people and pay them more than the base level, but hire all these people and have them work on it until they find a way to get a renewable energy source rather than coal or oil or gasoline, if you want to look at it that way. That should when you get to the point where you have renewable energy that is sitting in the little shed behind your house, and you can charge your car and you can heat and cool and light and television and all that stuff, and it costs you almost nothing to run that machine, you are going to find that the tremendous change in whatever the change will be. At the income that you're making right now, you would have a tremendous change. Think about it. No heating costs, no cooling costs, no cost charging your car, have an electric car. Do you understand what we're saying? It changes a tremendous amount of things that cost you, and if you just stay right where you are now, all of a sudden that cost goes away, and the health cost goes away, and all of a sudden the earth is no longer being polluted and ruined, and everybody's sitting there saying, why didn't we do that a long time ago? And they say, I don't know. The problem of renewable energy will be the first thing to be fixed, as you can easily see a great change in the improvement there. The cost of energy used now is insane and getting higher each year. And why wouldn't it? It's almost non-renewable. All of it. It's almost all non-renewable. We are doing windmills. We are doing water wave electricity generating. We are doing things that are renewable. However, those windmills are not all that renewable if you think about it. But anyway, you have solar panels getting cheaper and cheaper, and you're having fields of solar panels out in the desert now. It's going to turn around. It has to. When we have the inventions that give us renewable energy, the cost will go down year by year as the new inventions are brought into the market, and knowing that you have a desert with 100 acres of solar panels, and they're the ones that are running this town, that none of you people have to pay for the energy to heat or cool. None of the people have to pay for the charging of your car. It's like gas free. You've got to be able to see that it would be a great change. You have to see that. It'd be a wonderful change. So that's why they push that renewable energy right now. They're pushing it because the cost of oil and gas and coal is getting more and more because we're running out of it. They're doing horrible things to the country everybody kind of knows that they're doing something horrible. When you think about pumping polluted water down into the water table, and they'll say way, way below the water table. They don't know that. We don't know that. We have no idea if the water table comes up, but They've got it set up so the corporations are not suable if they ruin your water, so they don't care. And all of those things change when you have your own government run by your own people. The corporations all of a sudden don't have those advantages, and I tell you, and I've watched them, the real focus that they have for the corporations, which is the way it should be, is not that they did something horrible and people died from it. It's that they knew that it was bad and did it anyway because they could make the money, or they didn't know, and that will be the question the courts determine. Did you know that this drug was going to kill people, and you did it anyway because you could make more money than the cost of dealing with the people that were killed? See, that'll be the thing that'll come to court or into the law system. The businessman or woman will be able to build electric cars and trucks for everybody, and if that's where you decide to go, unless somebody invents something new, pollution will be almost gone, obviously. If you only have electric cars, tremendous amount of pollution's going, and a tremendous number of new jobs that pay good. Those that want to be rich will work for it, and we'll have thousands of new areas to be able to start a new business. They'll be building here in this country again, and the world labor costs will have leveled, and the labor problems are gone because we're going to charge whoever is. So we'll do it cheaper because our people only make 5 cents a day. No, we'll bill you to bring that car into the country for the cost of the laborers to make it even. So if somebody outside our country wants to build stuff for our country, the only gain that they'll have is that their natural resources they're using up 2 things. One, an invention that they make that we can't buy patent wise, and number 2, that they have things like oil and gas and coal that we don't have anymore, and so they can charge more. And they're only going to be able to charge just so much if we have people that are inventing power source that's renewable. So you can see the spiderweb thing changes, spiderweb changes. This is connected to that, and that this solves that problem, and you never even thought about it, and on it goes. So there are obviously advantages to the employer as we develop the new system, and there's never going to be a way to show you how much better it'll be for everyone except maybe the 1%. It won't be better for them because they're only making 400,000, but everybody else is going to do a lot better. And what they're saying is there's no way that we can show you that. You have to do it. And if the truth be known, it might be a good experience for them to see just what they do to others. Just see what they've done all these years to others by glumming onto the money. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They are supposedly insane, so it's a serious question. In any case, after the sheep, which is you, have chosen to leave, and we're talking about at the end of the 2,600 year cycle, and the gates come down, the 1% get all that they had back, and then go on with their God desires. What did they say? Let me read the sentence again. In any case, after the sheep, which is you, have gone, chosen, the sheep are the ones that choose Father, and they leave, and the gates come down, the 1% get all they had back, and they can go on playing their God games. What do you mean get their money, everything they had back? One of the things that will be done at the end of the cycle, if we close the gate and it's permanent, is that the powers that be will make sure that those who had trillions of dollars have trillions of dollars again, because they're not going to misuse it on you. You're gone. So everything gets paid back equally. It stops now. And one of the things that they say all the time is, you have to understand, you rich, it's going to stop now. But take heart. What you're going to lose now, because of the 400,000, you're going to get back at the end of the cycle. So, and they always say 2 things. They say at the end of the cycle is only 2,600 years, and you're born again and again. We know that, and you know how to get your money back, and so, but you will get everything back. It's taken away from you in this cycle when everybody that is going to get out of this cycle leaves. So number one, don't stop us. Don't try to interfere with us, because you will suffer greatly in terms of the worst loss of all, which is into the void in molecules. Yeah, that's what they say. Totally tear you apart molecule by molecule and spread you into the void, never to come together again. That's the price that you'll pay for getting in the way. So, number one, don't get in the way, because you'll pay a horrible price. But number two, you'll get it all back at the end, except that you won't have the sheep. That's us. Okay, now if you don't understand that, go back to book 1, 2, and 3 and get it. Number one, now, the government is not involved in the conflict of interest games in any way. The government is watched too closely, so that you're understanding that they are going to be watched so that there is no conflict of interest, and that law will be extremely enforced. It's a legal thing. You will go to jail. Number two, there will be more money available for research, because that's the unit of that unit of government will have a budget connected to that unit. The money that's over the 400,000 is going to go into that research and development, and the first thing is renewable power. That's what they're going to do. But then they go on with the medicine. Does this pill work? We're going to find out. We're going to do the double-blind, nobody knows tests until we find out. We're going to find out who heals. We're going to find out all kinds of things that we need to know, because that's what the research department is to do, and they do it starting with, and what they said number three was there'll be a method of prioritizing what should be researched, and then the research will be verified by a rigorous scientific method and no conflict of interest. Number four, also recently, and they're really, pointing out the research thing. Number four, all research will be published in an effort to make sure that no one can find a flaw in the research, and then maybe someone will find a flaw in the research. You see, what did they say? They said all the research is going to be published, and they're going to tell you how they did it, and if anybody can find a flaw, good. That's what we want. So you have a couple of scientists that read it and say, no, that's not right. You can't do that. That's a conflict of interest. And okay, now we have scientists who are out there making darn sure that we're right. Number five, determine the value or truth of a product or method of doing something will be researched and published. Again, same thing. That being the case, all medical methods will be researched and verified. All food supplements will be researched and verified that they do what they state. All methods and products that are sold to the public will be researched and verified and made safe. The point of all this, the point is that we'll no longer need the American Medical Association union anymore. Yes, the American Medical Association is a union, and yes, it's just as abusive as any union became after time. Will not lead that union anymore. The American Dental Association union will no longer be needed either. The government will do its job now, and much less conflict of interest. Any group that sets standards and tries to protect the public will no longer be needed, because the government's doing it. You see? And that's who should be doing it, because they have no conflict of interest, and the people that are doing it are hired by you. So if you think the vaccination thing is wrong and has to be investigated, you're not going to get the people that make it to do it, but you are asking the people that make the vaccination to determine the effectiveness and the safety. Insane. Totally insane. Sometimes we do things that are insane. You let the government do it, they do the research, and they find out it either works or it doesn't work, and they have percentages, and they have, and when they get it published, you can look at it and say, no, I think the danger or the risk to a vaccination is way too high for what it's supposed to be able to do, but doesn't. Now, that isn't saying that that's the truth. I'm just saying that that is a possibility. You might find out that the vaccination procedure is exactly perfect and does exactly what it's supposed to do, and everything's great. But at least we'll know. Uh, in big red letters, it says we'll be able to see the way the unions have been price fixing for the overcharges. We'll be able to see that. And the unions we're talking about here are not only the unions, but also the American Dental Association and the American Medical Association and anybody else that's supposed to be protecting the people. The government will do it. Thank you. Not the people that are producing the product. So the unions will be eliminated just as well as the workers' unions, those unions. Why would we want someone to make those decisions for us if there's a great chance that there will be a decision to make profit instead of producing the thing that we want? You know, that's the key to the whole thing, and that's what they're saying that they're going to be able to do. So they're now in the process of taking a good look at it and researching it and making darn sure that what the sales, if you want to talk about what the person who's doing the determination, what is it that they say? You know, what is it? What do we expect them to? What does the government say about the same thing? Not taking the word of somebody who's going to make a lot of money out of it. We don't want them to make the decision. So that's the new system, and that's what it's going to do, and that's a really good thing.